Recognizes the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Neugebauer.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days with which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous materials for the record on H.R. 26 currently under consideration.
Without objection, so ordered.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself as much time as I may consume.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for as much time as he wishes to use.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And for those of you watching at home today, this is not a C-SPAN rerun. I stand before you today to discuss the Terrorism Risk Insurance Reauthorization Act, a bill that passed this House 417-7 at the end of the previous Congress. This bill is a result of a long and difficult bicameral and bipartisan negotiations, but for whatever reason, the previous Senate decided that it was more important to go home a couple of days earlier rather than reauthorize the TRIA program. As a result, the program expired at the end of the year. So today, the House will act on this important piece of legislation once again. Doing so will provide certainty to the terrorism risk market and ensure that the American economy remains resilient against the threat of terrorism. Congress passed the Terrorism Risk Insurance Act of 2002 after the aftermath of 9/11. It was intended to provide a 2-year transition period in which the market participants could develop resources that would enable them to offer private terrorism insurance coverage once the program expired. For various reasons, that transition has not taken hold. Throughout the last 2 years, my subcommittee learned how evolved the terrorism risk insurance marketplace has become since the last reauthorization. Since the advent of TRIA in 2002, markets have stabilized, risk management practices have improved, and terrorism risk modeling and underwriting has advanced, and the price of terrorism risk coverage is actually declined by 70%. But we've also learned that this evolution of TRIA has failed to keep up with marketplace realities. And in fact, the program remains largely unchanged over the last 12 years. This has hindered the growth of private market participation in the terrorism risk insurance and resulted in a bad deal for the taxpayers. The bill before us today is an effort to recognize and to keep pace with the market developments of terrorism risk insurance marketplace over the past decade. The bill strengthens taxpayer protections without altering the program's fundamental functions, brings greater certainty and stability to the terrorism risk market, and lays a foundation for a more robust private market participation in terrorism risk. With regard to the taxpayer protection, the program's trigger doubles from $100 million to $200 million. It also decreases the federal share of the insurer's loss from 85% to 80% and enhances the taxpayer program's recovery requirements. And for the first time, we will have meaningful data on the program to increase accountability and transparency. To provide certainty, the program is extended for 6 years, but makes no changes for the first year so that the market will have time to adjust. It also clarifies and streamlines the terrorism certification process so that policyholders are better protected. Most importantly, the bill today creates a framework that will allow for a more healthy private market participation in terrorism risk over time and slowly replaces taxpayer-funded reinsurance with private sector capital. And finally, the bill before us today includes some bipartisan reforms that will help boost the economy and job opportunities for all Americans. These Dodd-Frank fixes will help America's hardworking farmers, ranchers, and business owners. They did not cause the financial crisis, and they deserve immediate relief. I'm also proud that the inclusion of the reestablishment of the National Association of Registered Agents and Brokers, or NARAB, which is an effective and efficient way to enable insurance agents and brokers to license on a multi-state basis while retaining essential state regulatory authority. I thank Chairman Henschel for trusting me to reform this important program, and I urge my colleagues to vote yes on H.R. 26, and I reserve my time.
The gentleman from Texas reserves his time. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from New York.